Hello, my name is Anka Valdez. I'm doing a venture called Smart Fridge with a gentleman named Philip. So what is the problem? So the problem is food is not being used before the sell-by date. So you have food waste, a financial waste, and a time waste. Essentially, you constantly going back to the supermarket to get XYZ to pretty much restock the fridge. So like we mentioned, what the problem was is that it's a necessity to always go to the grocery store and actually constantly purchase perishable foods, that being uh, fruits, vegetables, any type of meats. Even nowadays, if you don't have to go to the actual supermarket, you can still order it online, like through Amazon. It's estimated roughly 31% of the food supply in 2010 was actually wasted, pretty much going straight to the landfill, as well as roughly $162 billion is actually being essentially tossed and not being used on food waste. So here we have Thomas, who has this type of issue, where he has a household of six, where he's constantly pretty much providing food and cooking for his family, and he is wasting tons of money on food that's actually not being used, that's just sitting in the fridge and actually growing, which is not something that we want. We have as well as Diana, who is healthy food orientated, where she does a lot of meal prepping, where she buys lots of food in bulk to pretty much have it for the rest of the week. And anything that she doesn't eat or is not being used does go to waste. As well, we have Andy, who enjoys cooking and baking, so that being any type of eggs, dairy that she has to purchase and just sits in the fridge. We want to kind of monitor that and make sure we're actually using it efficiently. So the reason why I care is that we want to make the kitchens cleaner and smell fresher. We don't want anything to be growing in the fridge if we can avoid it. We want to have a large environmental and financial impact on families globally. So like we mentioned, a lot of food cost is being wasted, as well as a large environmental. So if we are overproducing, that being even cattle, poultry, pork, a lot of the food that's being grown is actually used to fed those animals. So if we can somehow cut down on food overproduction, in the end, we're actually making a huge environmental impact. And we also want to stop foods from actually going to the landfills as well. Try to do composting of that sort, just so that we're not wasting anything that we are actually growing. We will, like we mentioned, want to minimize the food costs, minimize the food waste, as well. We want to educate the consumers on how their food is being grown, as well as ways to pretty much be smart with what their food is. Right now, on the market, we do have Family Hub, which is Samsung's version of a smart fridge, as well as we have LG, which is their LRFX model. Our smart fridge would be a supermarket compatible, expiration reminders, food cost tracking, as well as user-friendly interface, which ticks off all those marks. Family Hub ticks one of them out of the four, and the LG ticks none. We pretty much want an app that you can trust, so that you can pretty much keep on record of your perishable foods. So pretty much how it works is you have a customer purchasing groceries from any local supermarket, even ordering from Amazon, any type of produce. You go home, load up the Smart Fridge app right on the phone, and enter the expiration details of purchased foods like we have on the slide on your right hand side. Once you get home, you pretty much enter all that produce into you load up your fridge with all that produce, and then you can have set reminders on the devices on how often you want you to be reminded on what you currently have in the fridge. Here is a flow chart. So pretty much, like I mentioned, go to the supermarket. From the supermarket, get home with the produce. Smartphone application, you pretty much open that up on any device, that being Android or iPhone. Enter the information onto the phone. Input all the food, milk, etc., XYZ into the fridge. And at that point, your fridge and the phone are in an ecosystem where they're pretty much talking to each other, as well as any other person who has the app and shares an account. How it can grow, we can partner with supermarkets to sync data on that cloud-based server, so we can have accurate information to provide to the consumers on when their food would be going bad, and further details on calories and any type of nutrition value as well. as well as a partnership with food magazines. So essentially, your app knows that you have XYZ in your fridge. It can give you a recommendation based off what you currently have to actually create a recipe for you. Or if you're missing something, you can always order it as well. Like we mentioned, ordering, the app itself will recognize, hey, you've constantly have purchased this type of produce or XYZ. Would you want to replenish it on a specific schedule? And then also having push notifications, letting the consumer know, hey, you have X amount of days until that food is actually going bad. Like we mentioned, our end goal is to make a positive impact on the fight against food waste. Pretty much assist families on lessening the financial burden of that food waste, improve the quality of life. So making sure that food is always fresh and we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel to ensure that we're actually getting good food quality. So currently my team, Kirk, coincides with Phil, who's a computer science engineer student at Arizona State University, and me, Angel Valdez, who's an electrical engineering student at Arizona State University as well. Thank you for listening.